After a year full of surprises and political upsets, believers have looked once again to Nostradamus' writings to try to predict what the new year will bring. The famous 16th century French physician, philosopher and astrologer predicted the French Revolution, Adolf Hitler's rise to power and the 9/11 terror attacks. He also accurately foresaw Donald Trump's 2016 presidential victory, referring to him as the great shameless, audacious bowler. For the year 2017, the following predictions are revealed. The United States will begin to fall. Looking at Nostradamus' 2017 predictions, the philosopher appeared to have seen visions that pertained to a massive change in the world's balance of power. Among these changes is the fall of a superpower, which many of the prophet's followers believe is the United States of America. According to Nostradamus' prophecies, the USA would start being increasingly ungovernable and incompetent, ultimately proving itself as a disappointment to the world, according to the Express. This would continue until such time when America would not be able to fulfill its role as a world leader effectively. Nostradamus' 2017 predictions point to political corruption, civil unrest, and inequality, the rise of the corporate and financial elites, and the failure of the social system as causes for the United States' downfall. Overall, many of these are already happening, with President-elect Donald Trump, who has no political experience, set to take the reins of the country. Civil unrest has also become prevalent, as old problems such as racial discrimination have begun emerging once more. China will rise. On the world stage, China could make bold moves to cure the economic imbalance in the world with far-reaching effects, according to believers. According to the French philosopher's predictions, the coming year would also see the emergence of China as a world power, making bold moves in order to address the economic imbalances in the world. Considering that China has been significantly growing its power over the last few decades, this particular prophecy might very well come true. After all, with superpowers such as the United States seemingly set for a further decline, China has every opportunity it needs to make sure its rise to power is undisturbed. This should not really come as a surprise, however, as the Asian superpower has been building itself as a formidable global force for decades. Since 1978, China has managed to transform itself from being a small player in the global area to an economic behemoth that attracts trillions of dollars in foreign investments. If Nostradamus' predictions about the United States do come true, there is a good yet disturbing chance that China might definitively replace America as the world's biggest superpower next year. Global warming a trigger for war. Nostradamus' 2017 predictions also suggested that the following year would see a massive, worldwide conflict over a very prominent topic, global warming. As the Earth's resources get used up and as opposition to environment-friendly initiatives rises, tensions among nations might reach a boiling point, ultimately causing a war, or a hot war, as the philosopher's predictions state. According to Nostradamus, what is particularly terrifying about the upcoming conflict is the fact that biological warfare and terrorism might finally be utilized by some forces. Just like the previous two prophecies, the ingredients for this disturbing prophecy seem to be falling into place. The stance of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on climate change alone is enough to get numerous followers of the French philosopher apprehensive, considering that the business mogul turned president does not believe that climate change is real. This, of course, might not sit very well with other countries that are fully invested in the fight against global warming. In the worst-case scenario, the United States' stance on climate change might become one of the catalysts for conflict in the year to come. Russia and Ukraine to sign a peace deal. Another prophecy is said to predict a new truce between Russia and Ukraine, which will be opposed by the US but embraced by the EU. According to the prophet, the two warring nations will come to an agreement in 2017, though the terms of which are unclear. Contrary to what's happened so far, he said the US will oppose the truce while Germany and other EU members will embrace it. Italy to face financial hardship. According to Nostradamus, unemployment and loans will make Italy the epicenter of the European financial crisis, detracting attention from Greece and Spain. Italy could face financial hardship with rising unemployment and loans, making it the epicenter of a fresh Eurozone crisis. The country looks set to experience economic turmoil and a deepening banking crisis in the wake of the Italian referendum result and Matteo Renzi's decision to resign. Redefinition of Latin America. The prophet claimed governments in the region will shift away from left-leaning policies, potentially setting the stage for civil unrest. Last month we reported how Donald Trump has insisted he would kick illegal immigrants out of the country and maintained he still plans to build a wall on the U.S. southern border with Mexico. The age of solar power. Nostradamus reckoned 2017 would see more and more nations across the world embrace clean energy, with solar power becoming the choice of technologies for numerous countries. This, of course, has already begun, as nations all over the world continue to contribute in the battle against climate change. Solar power has consistently gotten more advanced over the years, with massive facilities being built all over the world. While America might be turning its back on clean energy for the next few years, the rest of the world would most likely continue in the worldwide shift to clean energy. The disappearance of computing phrase the cloud. It's become the normal way of storing photos and documents online, hence why the prophet believed the term the cloud will vanish in 2017. According to him, most computing will simply be assumed to be done in the cloud, negating the need for the reference. Commercial space flights will begin. On a lighter note, Nostradamus' 2017 predictions also stated that 2017 would most likely see the debut of commercial space travel. While the costs of commercial space flights would most likely be out of reach for the common man, the fact that space would be open to civilians is already a massive step forward on its own. Numerous firms, such as Virgin Galactic and Elon Musk's SpaceX, have already invested greatly in the development of commercial space flights. A handful of civilians has already made it to space in the past, though most of them had to pay millions of dollars for the experience. Within the next year, the doors to space tourism might finally open for more individuals.